these are sold as 9-pound uprights. So the bag literally weighs half as much as the machine does. That is wild. Hey, welcome back to the workbench, everybody. So what we've got here is, oh my gosh, guys, that is a completely full bag. What is in this? Holy Toledo, I've never seen a super light with a bag this full. Whoa. Anyway, so the customer brought this in wanting a new bag and belt, and they definitely need it. So holy Toledo. We gotta try this bag first, because this is just bananas. All right, let's see what's going on in here. So they've been using the HEPA bag. That's a good thing. Not the paper bag. This is not one of the automatically closing bags. Holy moly. Okay. Oh, wow. I have never in all my days... There we go. This does have the closing. I've never in all my days seen a bag this full. It is literally like a brick. Like, that is unbelievable. Let's weigh this. I'm sure I've seen something like this before, but at the risk of sounding hyperbolic, this is pretty bad. Okay, so we're going to zero this out. All right, go ahead and set this on the scale. That is 4 pounds, 12 ounces of dirt. So fully, the bag itself weighed half as much as the machine does when it's new, because these are sold as 9-pound uprights. So the bag literally weighs half as much as the machine does. That is wild. So while we've got the bag door open, she wants a new bag. She needed a new bag, so we're going to go ahead and slide one in here. You can see that I mean, stock, they take a very large bag. I mean, you know, obviously she got almost 5 pounds worth of junk into hers. So this is, you know, a very large bag, huge capacity. And to put this in, we just pop this guy. There's little hooks here at the bottom. We just put the cardboard in there and pivot forward. Now, the newer machines have a more sophisticated bag mount than this, but this is their entry-level upright, entry-level lightweight upright. So this guy here does not have the like the bag dock system that most of them do. So the R10E is Riccar's most, well, it's their base model super light vacuum. So the super light is designed to compete with the likes of Oric, etc., who are selling lightweight vacuums. You know, to typically, historically, the market for these has been the elderly, but also, you know, a lot of people use them as their vacuums in their homes. The downside of something like the Superlight or an Oric or any of those like 8, 9, 10 pound uprights is typically they don't have tools on board. So what you're gaining in convenience in terms of weight, you're losing in convenience in terms of tools. So it becomes much more of a specialized tool. That being said, if weight is your primary concern, these are a very good option. So flipping this over, you can see that there is quite a bit of junk around this brush roll, so we're going to go ahead and jump in here. Now, the R10E which this one is, also has these clips that hold in the base plate as opposed to the more expensive units, which have quarter turn captive screws. Also, it has a wood brush roll, whereas the next step up, the R10S, everything switches over to a chrome steel brush roll. So, you know, for the extra money, you're actually getting quite a bit. This is kind of our primary customer on these units is house cleaners. We sell a lot of these to house cleaners because they're relatively inexpensive, especially when compared with something comparable from Oric. They're more reliable. So we sell a lot of these to house cleaners. For home use, most people will opt for the next step up because it comes with a better warranty, better brush roll, comes with better bottom plate, comes with a better outer bag, comes with the bag docking system, comes with rubberized wheels, comes with a ergonomic handle. I'll show you this one here in a second, but lots of extra features for not a whole lot of extra money. So again, this is kind of the bare bones model. On these wooden brush rolls, I like to check and make sure that there's no bearing play. And if you look here, there's a little bit. Not as much in that one. I'm not in love with that, but we'll see kind of what is going on. Let's take some of this hair wrapping off. Okay, so let's take the end cap off here. This was the end that felt okay, and it feels fine. I don't see a lot of play in the bearing itself. I'm gonna give them a quick drop of oil. Again, I don't like to repack these bearings if I can avoid it, because once you break that seal, it's always going to be broken and you're going to end up getting dirt in there. So the reason why we look inside here is not only to check the bearing itself, but also to make sure that there's no hair wrapping around the bearings, which there's not for either of these. I want to feel how much play there is, though. There's a little bit. The other telltale sign of whether or not that bearing is getting loose is looking here where it retains the brush roll, and if it started to vibrate, there'll be markings here, and there's not. So I'm going to put a dollop of oil on it, and we're going to roll with it. I think that it should be fine. It feels smooth. Definitely dry. Yeah. Again, I like to avoid breaking these seals if I can help it, but I think in this case, I don't think we can. So yeah, I think that this is going to become problematic for if we don't do something about this. Repacking this, even though it's not preferred, it is going to give her more life than letting this dry bearing continue to do its thing and kind of begin taking itself apart. So yeah, that's super dry. You can see here there is see if it'll focus. Come on. There is no grease in that bearing whatsoever. So if we repack it, it shouldn't be as loose. Should sound better. I'll just put a couple drops of oil around. Already sounds better. Yeah, when you repack one of these small bearings, you don't need to actually like slather the whole thing in grease. Just make sure you get some kind of all the way around. Does not have to be perfect. I believe, if you want to know the kind of grease I'm using Timken, which is automotive wheel bearing grease. It's a high-grade wheel bearing grease. So yeah, that's what I am using. But you can also, another really good option is marine grease, because it's so moisture resistant. Technically, wheel bearing grease should be to some extent as well. And I'll just reseat in there just like that. No problem. All right, grab a old paper towel here. All right. Yep, not as loose. Definitely quieter. Listen to that. And it'll get quieter as the grease wears in and heats up and gets throughout the bearing. It wasn't rough. It was just loud. There was no lubrication, but there wasn't like dirt in there. Otherwise, I would have cleaned it out. But, all right. And again, I'm not going to do this side. My specific reason for that is because this is nice and tight. It is quiet. It is free turning. If I break that seal, it's going to cause more issues than it's worth. This is going to outlast this bearing by far. All right, so let's go ahead and grab a belt. Now, I'll give the same speech that I give in every one of my videos. Again, I'm only doing the belt and bag. This vacuum could really use a service, and we offered her one, and she said no. So this is all that we're doing because that's all she asked for. Again, service is not a matter of doing things that the customer does not want. It's not my decision. I can say that the vacuum needs it, but I cannot make that decision for them. So what we're going to do is we put this around the motor and then we pull this down and in. These are tight. If you ever have trouble changing a rubber belt, car belts tend to be a little bit tighter than others. You can always heat this up with a hair dryer, but on the super light, there's a lobed side and there is a squared off side to the end cap, and the squared off side always goes facing you, so, or facing the floor, depending on your perspective there, I guess. So now we can pop this guy back in. So there's little clips right here. We just hinged that in, and now we just push and it'll click in. No problem. We'll just do a slight, ever so slight spruce up here, because again, we're not servicing it, but I want it to look not quite as bad as it did when it came in. Okay, so we've got the bag in them, we've got a new belt in them, brush roll's turning free, so we are going to go ahead and plug this in and give this guy a shot. Switch on this unit is right here on top of the hood. I told you I was going to tell you about the other difference between this and the next step up in the line. The next step up in the line also has a ergonomic plastic handle, whereas this is a steel tube with just like a rubber grip around it, and it also has a switch here on the handle as well, which this does not have. This just has the floor switch, so this is foot operated. So let's turn it on. Yep. Feels good. Actually, smells pretty good too. She must have been using, my guess, a lot of the weight in that bag was Carpet Fresh, which I'm going to make a note on her repair ticket not to use Carpet Fresh. Carpet Fresh is the baking soda based, the stuff that you sprinkle down on your carpet and to make it smell better and help deodorize. The issue with it is it eats motor bearings alive. And it's very heavy, so that makes sense why that bag was so heavy and so full. And why it smells good is I think that it had Carpet Fresh in it. It's kind of a distinctive smell, and I can smell it. I'll need to let her know not to use that anymore because it will destroy the bearings in a brush roll. It will destroy the bearings in a motor. Long term, it is just poison for vacuum reliability. So if you have used Carpet Fresh with your vacuum, just stop. Stop now. Don't let any more damage happen. It is bad news for your vacuum. All right, so she is all set, and of course, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, click the bell, and subscribe if you want more content like this, and of course, I will see you in the next video.